The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. I, Adyasha, on behalf of NEN and Vadwani Foundation, would like to welcome you all for this webinar and also introduce our expert, Dr. Sheenu Jain from Jaipuria Institute of Management, Jaipur. She is a faculty of marketing and entrepreneurship and heads the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at IIM Calcutta as Young Management Scholar. She is a certified entrepreneurship educator and holds multiple master's degrees. She contributes columns and articles to leading newspapers and has authored a book on green management practices. Before I hand over the floor to Dr. Sheenu, here are a few reminders for the audience. You all will be on mute by default. You may ask a question by typing in the panel provided, or if you wish to speak to the speaker directly, then you may click on the raise hand button that you can find to the panel to the right. You will be provided with the audio access only when the Q&A answer session will be started or will begin at the end of the session. In case you are having any queries, you can type down that in the panel provided to the left. Please ensure to share the list of participants with us once the webinar is over. Over to you, Dr. Sheenu.
Thank you so much, Adyasha. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this webinar once again. Today we are going to talk about eCell, a startup. eCell is a very important organization. It's becoming like a very important organization in the institute. Every institutions, right from the engineering college to management institutions to even undergraduate programs, they have lots of clubs and cells on campus. In fact, I've seen eCell becoming one of the most sparkling cell on campuses these days. Why we are talking about eCell and why we are giving so much importance to eCell is something which we need to understand today. And eCell is basically a membership-based organization, right, that attracts students who are interested in becoming entrepreneurs. But there are a lot of myths also associated with, being part of eCell. A lot of people confuse eCell with doing activities which are related to entrepreneurship or doing about business. But we say eCell has a more important or pivotal role to play. It's not about only, doing, if you want to do business or you want to start your business, you should join in. eCell teaches you many things. We have seen right from the, if you talk about any popular institution in the country, they all run an eCell. What is that key thing which makes them different is something which we need to know. For example, I remember when we were students, right? Entrepreneurship was something which was not really given so much important as a part of our curriculum. But slowly and gradually, when I see my students graduating out of an eCell, I see them getting well placed. I see them becoming more decision-making oriented. I see them becoming more risk takers. I see them more transformed. I see them more networked. You name any part of the country and they have somebody out there to reach. That's the power of the eCell. I also remember when I joined here, eCell was supposed to be known as elimination cell. You don't get entry into any of the cell on campus, why don't you join eCell? That was the kind of thing. But now if you look at the things, the way it has been changed today, people are fascinated to join eCell. Why? Because it runs not like any other normal club on campus. The entry is tough. The life is disciplined. The life is challenging. It's more creative out here. But it's not that easy, using these words out here. You need to engage people. You need to do so many things to keep it alive. And that comes from running it like a structured organization. Every cell has to have a vision, mission, and a culture to live in, right? When you have visions and missions to play, things become easy for you. It's not that you have a vision and mission and you just keep it as a documentation and keep it with you. You need to take it forward. You need to constantly reinvent the wheel. You need to keep on checking it every now and then and see, okay, what's going on? Are we moved ahead or are we not moving ahead? Do we need to change? Do we need to reshape it? We need to look at it. There are lots of organizations per se which we can talk about that they have lived by the vision, missions and values, the culture. Right from the bigger organizations to small startups, they live by their value system. So when you do that, even having an e-cell with the vision is the one good thing which every e-cell on campus should think about it. Because you should run like an organization. When you're running like an organization, you need to have a vision in place. How vision helps you? For example, when we started at IIM Calcutta, I remember we thought that we want to become one of the most sought after e-cell, not only in India, but we want to be, known abroad. And that's how we started a competition called I2I. And that has now become a global reach. So we had that vision when we started long time back. It just doesn't happen in 2 or 3 days. It takes a lot of time for you to do that. But then you need to fit that square well, and you need to have that vision in mind. Okay, I want to do this, and you want to reach to that level. So that level takes you there. The problem lies in everybody is now talking about that, okay, we should have an entrepreneurship cell on campus. We should do things about entrepreneurship. But how do we do it? Are we going in the right direction? Are we aware actually that how we need to build that ecosystem on campus? Do we have any documentation? Do we have any process? Do we have any structure in place? Not really. Many of us are not really aware about it. I personally have faced that challenge. When I have changed institutions, I've seen that they know that there is something called entrepreneurship. They need to go about it. But they seriously had no idea how to work around that E of entrepreneurship. There the problem lies in. We are following the race, but we don't know where to start and where to end. So we need to build up a culture about our e-cell on campus. Each e-cell on campus has a very important role to play. So how do they build their culture? For example, e-cell organize an event. The e-members take part in it. They completely take ownership of what the things they are doing on campus, right from the planning, conceptualization of idea to execution and implementation. Everywhere there is a structured way they do the things, and that builds their culture. I mean, I've seen institutions, they're selling their e-cell event. They are celebrating their e-cell event. Every e-member and e-leaders are part of it, and they are living that. In fact, there are a couple of students I remember from my journey at the work. Even if your life, you need to think that how do you move about, right? So you need to build up momentum all the time. That is what the beauty of the e-cell. These members take things with passion, zeal, enthusiasm, and that builds their culture. They take it to the next level. There are different kinds of organization structure which we talk about, right? Right from the hierarchical structure to the flat or functional model. And in fact, these days a lot of organizations have a metric structure also. Let's try and understand what kind of hierarchical model we are talking about. I mean, it looks very odd that even in something like e-cell, we are talking about building a hierarchical structure or a functional structure, but that's the way it should be. Because we want to plan it for the next level. We just don't want to do it as a year-long activity. That some people do the job and they move on. We want to continue that. We need to run an e-cell within the organization like a startup, which has to be nurtured and flourish. So if we talk about hierarchical model, basically you have a president, then you have a vice president, then you have a treasurer and other people in the bottom of the pyramid who follows the structure. What is the beauty of the structure is everybody knows what they're supposed to do and you follow each other's instructions. there's a lot of role clarity. But what happens? You have a one individual person who is leading the entire hierarchy. And if that leader doesn't do well, there is a Pygmalion impact. But if that leader does well, everything falls into the place. So there are a lot of advantages of this structure. In fact, I mean, KG Somaya, I've seen it at Symbiosis also. I've seen it, a couple of institutions in Delhi for following the hierarchical model, where you have a president, vice president, and they're elected through the certain systematic process of electing leaders. At the same time, you have a flat or functional model, which is more democratic in nature, with fewer layers, and you have a president or a one individual who's taking the onus of the entire process, and then for different verticals, like for example, marketing, for PR, for events, for outreach programs, for finance, for media, you have a different individual leaders who are taking care of the things. But if such kind of things, what happens is you need to have a multiple level of leaders. If you don't have those multiple leaders who are doing the jobs properly, probably you will have a trouble. Because those multiple leaders are not doing their job properly, it will have an impact on the structure. But then this is the way a lot of organizations are functioning. Even we at Jaipuria follow the functional model. You can see IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, IIM Calcutta, IIM Ahmedabad, all institutions following the functional model. So what happens in functional model? It works very well, and there are people who take the onus of the thing. The thing that they are leading the things, they're doing the job properly, and it gets correlated. In fact, there is something called metric structure that's more common these days. A lot of foreign institutions, like the Tuck School of Entrepreneurship, follow the matrix organization structure in their e-cell, where multiple people are reporting to the multiple individuals within the structure, and then they share the responsibilities and help in each other, because there is a lot of areas where you find overlap. For example, an event team has to coordinate with the media and PR team, right? They don't work in isolation. They need to work together. Similarly, you know that there is a fundraising team working for the e-cell has to work along with the event team, because you just can't work in isolation. So when they work together, it is more like a matrix structure where they do report. Has and you divide. You talk about the relation management, impact management, media and PR. And it's all basically related with customer building and engagement to the stakeholder engagement and impact, gathering resources and designing your products based on that. If we look around, there are multiple activities which any e-cell do on campus. The prime kind of students which we get in the e-cell is the one, who are interested in entrepreneurship, they're excited about entrepreneurship and want to do something. They might have variety of ideas, but they don't have any clue how to go about it. Then you'll find a lot of serious kinds who actually had some idea, but they're looking for, how to build upon that idea. So, to channelizing all these things together, e-cell plays a pivotal role. We do it right from, bringing out this kind of membership for the e-cell. For that, you can have a structure in place where you identify, okay, these are the roles which you're looking for your e-cell. And then with the student. And I strongly feel at least your past 2 year student should come and deliver to the students and tell them, see, this is what the things which we were doing at the e-cell. Exemplify. Tell them all the time that this is what we are doing. It makes an impact. This is a simple marketing funda that, we need to re-engage, we need to remind people, because we have a short-term memory. We don't remember something which is not of any use to us. So we need to keep on reminding to the students. And a startup has a more challenge in the sense, you have a lot of competition from other activities on campus. Finding time slot in your regular timetable, regular curriculum is anyways difficult. So you have a more important role to play. Then how do you do marketing? How do you make your social presence is equally important in engaging your customers. I mean, there are a lot of institutions who do very interesting things about engaging their customers. I mean, I've seen a couple of e-sales who have completely forward with that. Gathering the right resources, right from, working on your fund management, account management is important, right? Multiple kinds of events which you do on campus, we talk about in detail. And then building PR. For example, for smooth functioning, what is important? You need to have an output which has certain outcome and an impact. So the typical output which an institution in an ESL looks for is doing your programs and activities for a different kinds of audience. You don't have always a similar kind of audience, right? The audience keep on changing all the time. So what do you do? But for those kind of audience, you need to customize and design your program. For example, you have a mentoring unit on campus. That mentoring unit can cater to the student needs. The same mentoring unit has to redesign their activities when they are catering to the mentoring unit, which is for the startups who are outside the campus, or you are working for your alumni entrepreneurs. The way you will do the things would be different. But ultimately, the entire outcome should be that you are working for the student entrepreneurs or graduating entrepreneurs, or some startups are joining. I'm sure each ESL now are working and at least ensuring that they have some, campus companies getting floated every year. There are a couple of students getting passed out from their ESL and starting their own venture right after they graduate. And also you see lots of alumni coming back to the institution and telling, oh, we want to start now. They might not have realized in those 2 or 4 years of their life when they're on campus, but they realize that now I need to work and, start my own company. So the entire impact is creating culture and building your brand. I mean, I know lots of ESLs across the country, right from IIT Bombay to, I am Calcutta, IIT Delhi, I am Udaipur. There's so many institutions, Symbiosis, KG Somaya. Their ESL is most known ESL on campus, and they build their brand across. Their competitions, big Filani, the competitions and the names are so big that people automatically get attracted to them just by their name. They have created their presence in the market. They have those signature events of the ESL which is being sought after. People wait for those events to happen. So that's the impact which they have created in the market. If we talk about member identification and development, ESL generally has 3 different profiles of potential members or students, right? The first, as I said, students who are exploring entrepreneurship, who have no idea, they're just the beginners. They don't know how to go about it. In fact, they have so many classic ideas. That's another thought that interesting. You will find lots of campuses, most of the idea revolves around either the food, mess, canteen, or somebody talking about, okay, to doing something on e-commerce, or bringing something to a social angle, or probably some solar kind of stuff. These are one of the common set of ideas which you get across campuses. I hardly find people that who differs to that thought. Secondly, you have some passionate people who want to become entrepreneurs. You will not find much of them into the class. If it is a class of 100, you'll hardly find 1 or 2 students who have that kind of spark already present or that passion already with them. Then you have the third category who are running their own startup already. There are some of people who are experienced and who join the management program. So what are the important things what we need to remember when we are identifying the student for our ESL? If we do not identify the right people, what happens? What happens is we waste our time, energy, effort, and we are not able to deliver what we want to do. In fact, I've seen, your ESL is running successfully for 5 years till it becomes dormant. Because the right people who have not taken it over for the next year. So if that happens, there is a problem. So right people for the right job is very important. Getting member in the first place is not an easy task. You have so many people on campus. I mean, I've seen, for example, a management institution, they have more than 8 to 12 clubs on campus, and each student wants to be part of academics, and they want to be part of cultural activities, and they also want to be part of ESL. So how do you put yourself into the place? How do you get people attracted to your ESL? How your membership becomes important to them? How do they start taking you seriously? Is only possible when you start taking you seriously. When you have your things in place, when you know what you are supposed to do, people will know that, oh God, to join them is not easy task. Right? Don't take your members for granted. Because they have joined you voluntarily. You have not run after them. When they have joined you voluntarily, each member is important to you. They want to contribute something for the benefit of themselves. Take the maximum utilization of that. Plan your things well ahead in time. You need to hold the attention of your members. How do you hold attention? If you do not find something useful being said or being done at the ESL, probably you would not like to be part of it. There are some of the serious kinds on campus who are only there when you want to do something. So break that myth that ESL is only about doing events. Say for example, we celebrate one EV throughout in a year and we are done. No. Create that impression in the market that ESL is a serious business. You do multiple of things out there, right from the basic knowledge providing to advanced planning, to mentoring support, to nurturing your startup ideas, to connecting you with the right people. Everything you do at the ESL. ESL is not only about holding events, holding fun activities, which is related to entrepreneurship. That is a myth in the market and we need to break that myth. Remember that you are catering to existing demand and building demand, entrepreneurship as you go along. I mean, right after year and year, I've seen if we have set the right, standards in the past, the next year you find less of a trouble and more people getting attracted to you. It's important. Leading the team, the people whom you identify as your core team, you need to work with that team. That team has to be very well focused and decisive how are they going to move ahead. If the team doesn't know what they are supposed to do, how to plan, probably things will not fall in place. Let's start right from the program development. How do we develop a program, what we want to do at ESL? The first idea to understand or to organize any program is you need to assess the need. You need to see what is the need of the program. Why are you doing a particular program? Is there any reason behind doing this particular program? Or you're just doing it? Let's take an example. For example, you want to conduct an e-talk. What is the need of doing an e-talk? Are you doing an e-talk because it is, you should have one entrepreneur coming to your campus and sharing the story? Or is there any more objective associated with it? That you're telling, okay, I need to do something. So that e-talk basically says, this is a failure story session or there could be a successful story session. How did that entrepreneur shared his story? How do you going to tell your student that this is relevant to them and they can use that for their own benefit, or it is of no use to them? So just don't do it even for the sake of doing it. You have identified the right individual, matching with the audience, then only design your program. Don't have a misfit. This is basically assessing the needs. Then, are you going to do it in-house or you need to get an external to do in a program, right? For example, you might need a resources as a facilitator. You also don't have an infrastructure. So do you need to conduct that program on campus, off campus, any kind of needs? Identify that well in advance so that you don't have a last minute hiccups. So for any organization to run smoothly, you need to work on your content, you need to work on your program. You just can't wait, okay, this is like a regular thing which you're doing, you just move ahead with the last minute thing and have issues while doing it. Right? Anchor activities, plan, script. ESL is about perfection. You do whatever you do, put your heart and soul into it. So very well plan what are you doing. Okay. And then which are the key access points you need to tap through, has to be also well planned. Getting revenues. When we talk about entrepreneurship, I think eCell as an organization has to be self-sustainable on campus. We understand that the management institution, the engineering college provide lots of support in terms of, giving you infrastructure, giving you faculty resources, but then beyond that, how long can you go along with that? Don't you feel like that, okay, we need to be run like a startup, we need to raise our funds on our own? How do you generate that revenue? You can see on the screen, there are a lot of companies who support, right, for the entrepreneurship events. Right from Mozabear, Hyundai, Samsung, iBall, Mahindra. I mean, there are so many other companies who actually support in raising funds. You know, they sponsor, many of your events. They sponsor your project ideas. I mean, you can see there are lots of B-Plan competition which has been run across the country. BITS Pilani, IIT Bombay, IIM Calcutta, FMS Delhi, and many. I think every other institution has a B-Plan competition. But the one which I'm talking are providing lots of money to the startups who are coming and bringing and sharing their own ideas. So it's not only a platform to get connected to the corporates and raise money, but also it gives a sense of accomplishment for those who take part in those B-Plan competition and take it to the next level, right? We have seen, right from the Red Bus, getting funded. We have seen so many other startups who got emerged, at a platform and reached to a level. You have seen a lot of websites, online portals coming in. There is BillSayGold.com from IIM Ahmedabad. There is a Tapri from KJ Somaya. There is a Redbus from BITS Pilani. These guys have all startups which have been raised on campus and moved to the next level. For providing them that facility, you need to generate revenue for eCell. How do you do that? Approaching corporates, pitching yourself to them that, they should find some value in getting associated with you. Why an organization would like to, like Samsung or Mozabear would like to get associated with you? They would like to get associated with you only when they feel that they'll get some benefit out of being part of you. Right? So when they sponsor or they join events with you, they know that they are in right place. They are reaching to the maximum number of people. And these are the people who are working for a good cause. These are some of the best practices which I would like to share for fundraising. Of course, the quality of programs, what you do, if your quality of programs is due, people will join your hands with you because they know that you deliver something which is really apt for them, which is really good, so it's going to make difference to them. In fact, you need to also do some kind of homework when you're going out for sponsorship for your events or for running your day-to-day activities. You need to profile and shortlist the companies that want to promote entrepreneurship and innovation. I mean, it's always a good idea that you don't reach to 1,000 people, but better you shortlist those 100 companies or those 50 companies and target them and see, okay, this is, say for example, NIF thought of doing a competition on grassroots innovation, and they thought Suzlon Suzlon Energy could be the right company to join hands with because they are working a lot into that sector. So they join hands with them. Even the company find app, and the organization who's running the program also find it very relevant. So that's how they come together and share the platform. So you get funds raised. In fact, interestingly, this year's budget, I mean, at the central government level, they have devoted lots of money for skill development, right? So you can join hands with the government and they can help you in raising funds for your eCell. In fact, if I talk about, since I'm from Rajasthan, I can share that Rajasthan government has done that for, all the 25, cities in the state. They are working on the skill development program. And in the budget, they have raised money. So what you can do as an institution, you go to the government and say, I want to work on this area for the skill development. Students can actively take part into it, right? And they get money in turn to perform their activities. They're doing that. Then there are a lot of funding agencies who provide support, right from AICT, then you have DST, you have NISBUD, you have, entrepreneurship development institutions. There's so many such organizations who provide funds for creating entrepreneurial ecosystem on campus. You can work along with them, right? But you need to satisfy your funders, right? Say money is something which everybody have an eye on it. They're just not going to give you money because, you're the one who came. And how many times they can give you? They can give you once, they can give you twice. You can't fool them all around. So you really need to pitch them. You really need to have your figures in place. You need to have a relevant statistics to prove that you are doing your job properly. You will be satisfied. You will not find any issues on campus in terms of, becoming self-sustainable. In fact, a lot of institutions now, you can see that ESL has become so active that they don't even take a single rupee from management. In fact, they pay their room rental and electricity charges back to the management, saying, we have that money to pay you back. That's the beauty of an ESL. Approach, we generally have a mindset, we want to have too many sponsors for our event. Instead of that, I think, you should go for couple of bigger sponsors who can cater to the entire needs and you don't lose the charm in between. Those big sponsors will carry a name for you and you will be easily able to take care of your operational things. Having multiple small sponsors really doesn't work well in a long run because they are generally one time, you never get associated with them for a long period of time. Right? Outreach and marketing. One of the most important part of an ESL. Effective use of marketing collateral. See, today's student, you all are too smart, right? You know that how you can do your thing. So you can have variety of collaterals being designed for your ESL, right? Right from the posters, brochures, booklets, snippets, the small strips. All these you can design, but you need to design them very well. That just conveys the message. People read them and they can figure out, oh wow, this is from ESL. Bound to be. Then you can think about having your own website. It could be a separate website for your ESL or it could be a sub-site, catering to your institution. For example, www.jaipuria.ac.in/ESL. So that's my sub-site at Jaipuria. So you can have that website always attract a lot of curious promotional video on ESL. With the, thanks to the technology, we can use variety of videos and these days the smartphones, all of us can create those videos on campus, those success stories, those moments, the life which we run through the ESL on campus, we can capture that and we can put it into the videos and share it through the YouTube, which is being a viral mode. A lot of institutions does that. You can also paste it on your website and you can also use it for sharing with the students in your classroom, right? E-talks is a common thing you should do. Every ESL who is in a beginning stage or for the new batch of students coming in, you should get some entrepreneurs from outside who is talking about what the talk is, what's their share of idea about their business, how they're doing their business, right? Media coverage and PR campaigns for the event. I think nowadays ESLs are taking active interest into it, developing their media campaigns, getting their PR done, getting more and more people aware about, what they're doing. If you look at it, for example, IIT Bombay has a very interesting strategy in terms of marketing their, business plan competition called Eureka. What they do, they generally hold this program somewhere in October and November, right? And when August, September, when they have, trimester breaks, their students who live in different part of the country, they go to their hometowns for the break. What they do, they go to the various institutions in the city and share about their events, right? About the Eureka. They organize some activity for them on campus. They talk about their entrepreneurship things which they do on campus. Competition generates and they get membership for Eureka from there. So So, they just don't do things on campus. They go out, they do things off campus and get connected with the students. So it's a very interesting model the ESL is following. Out there. Then you can have a newsletter where you talk about ESL. You can bring around a lot of articles, a lot of interesting ideas. I've seen a very interesting magazine from one of the institutions called Chisel, which talks about entrepreneurship. There are a lot of startups who write in. They have FAQs for startups. There are a lot of startups who can put their questions and, they can be solved by the experts. So it has a content for somebody who want to make entrepreneurship as in their career and, bringing it as an excitement opportunity for them. Sorry. Engage your customers via social media platform. When you know that bigger companies, the bigger organization, everybody is now reaching to the people through social media. And especially for a startup, using social media as a platform is a very quick thing, an easy thing, and you can save a lot of money. It's one of the low-cost marketing tool, if I must say, especially LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. These are the 3 social media platforms that are very widely used by startups today. And even you can use your ESL for the benefit of this. There are institutions who use membership polls and other kind of things through the Facebook mode. They see how many people are curious about, knowing about their ESL through the Facebook. They generate LinkedIn profile and get connected to the right people. So it helps, right? And of course, the celebrating of the achievements of your ESL on campus. Not just achievements, I've seen ESL celebrating their failure and becoming determined that next year they are going to do much better than their counterparts. So, because they feel that this is part of their life, this is part of their DNA, and they feel so proud about it, they just don't think about it. It is like you need to take an owner. You are nurturing it like your own baby. So if it is your baby, you see that the baby has ups and downs, baby keep on falling, but then baby gradually gets up and baby becomes toddler to, little younger and adult, you move on. So similarly, I think if you start taking your ESL as a life cycle, you have a fair chances of doing well. Succession planning, a very important thing to do. You need to have a succession planning in place. Ensure that you have a formal annual plan. Many times it happens. In fact, I personally have seen that 1 year you're doing a good job, but then you realize, by the time you realize, those guys who are doing the good job on the ESL moves out. So, and then next year when you start up, you don't know how to go about things because you had no planning. We have seen in the organization also, if the leader change, the things change, right? So it's better that you already do the hand-holding, you plan it well in advance, at least 3 months, so that the newcomers who comes in already know the things. And the immediate juniors can take over and do the right job. Recruitment process has to be well structured and in place in the beginning of the month only, so that there's no problem later on, right? Identify the right people for the core committees with the desirable qualities, right? You need a communicator also, you need a team player also, you need a person who is quick in calculations, you also need an individual who can gel well with the outsiders and had a good PR skills. You also need somebody who has a lot of passion and, is a hard task master. So you need a variety of people. You just can't have one particular skill and just go about it, right? You need to have individuals with variety of combination so that they can complement each other. You don't find much of the problem with them. As I said, you need to involve the previous batch students. Always bring your alumni in your ESL activity and then see the impact. It really helps. It's a classic way because they will talk about so many things even which they were not doing, but they realize they should have done it. So it brings an important angle to it. And this is how you should go about succession planning. In fact, if I look at it, the ESL, there are a couple of more things which I want to add on to this. What we are talking is your each cell should start right from the awareness and inspiration. Doing activities right from the e-talk. We hear often the activities like 50 rupees exercise and, organizing panel discussions and, doing couple of role plays and, idea generation and opportunity evaluation sessions and kind of stuff. You can keep on doing that. Then you can move on to, for some kind of serious plots, you can keep on running parallel lectures, kind of workshops, small case study sessions, right? Where e-leader workshops, in fact, provide training to your own e-leaders so that they become and mature to next level, right? Provide some sort of financial knowledge to them, because you'll find especially engineering graduates have typical problem with the financial knowledge. Give them practical exposure, which I'm sure most of the ESL does in terms of planning a lot of events, inter-college competitions, B-plan competitions. Then work on the mentoring, which is another important part for which many ESL students join in. And the final outcome should be to see most students graduating as an entrepreneur, starting campus company, even joining summer internship program, in the startup is something what we should aspire to see from our ESL coming in. To cut it short and put it in the right place, what I'll say, ESL is the spark of any campus. It is about excitement, it's about enthusiasm, it's about entrepreneurship, it's about inculcating entrepreneurial skills in you, which makes you a better individual, which gives you complementary skills to work together while you do all these functions, the regular activities which we talk about, right from the planning, forming, putting things together, execution of events, organizing a lot of activities, conducting workshops and lectures. All these things, when you do it together over a period of time, maybe 1 year, 2 years time, you become a mature individual, and that gives you a competitive edge above anybody else. So even when you are pitching your ESL to others, you should strongly put emphasis on it and talk about it. See, this is why we are different. This is why we are creating difference. And then when you are part of ESL, probably you are doing one of the greatest jobs, even contributing for the benefit of society, because you are creating entrepreneurs. You are creating individuals who can run an organization, who are self-sustainable, who can give employment opportunities to a lot of people. So I think that is the satisfaction which get derived at the end of the year. I'll open the hall for the question answer.
Thank you, Dr. Sheenu. Before we move towards this question answer session, I would like to make some announcement. We will be running some polls in between. So this would be a simultaneous process while Dr. Sheenu will be taking some questions. In the meantime, there would be some polls, and we would definitely like all of you to respond to that. And also there are few faculty members who are attending along with the students. So I'll definitely want them to raise questions on the behalf of the students also. This will definitely give them some a good idea about, because I'm very sure that many new students would be there who are very new to ESL and trying to learn different things. So if you want to raise any questions or suggestions also, if you have for other faculty or students which you feel we haven't really covered in this webinar, please click on the raise hand button. That will be really helpful. And in case you have to ask any question also, you can please type down in the panel provided. We are moving on with the polls and just sharing that. You can see that on your screen. In the meantime, I'll ask you a question, Dr. Sheenu. There is a question from Professor Sampath Kumar Coimbatore. He wants to know, in a Tier 2 city like Salem, sorry, that's Salem, not Coimbatore. We don't have much corporates there. So if we have to move to Chennai or Bangalore or Coimbatore, cities like this, then those people from corporates generally ask us why would they will support them, and what is the benefit that those corporates will be getting by supporting them. So how to address something like this?
Thank you, Professor Sampath, for your question. If I take this question forward, I mean, I can give you my own example. For example, I have run an ESL in a very Tier 2 or rather Tier 3 city, and we have got a lot of support from the corporates, I think it's all about the way we convince to them and tell them, see, this is not about you only want to reach within your own area, right? You want to move ahead, you want to get connected to more number of people. And in fact, there are a lot of corporates, say for example, if I talk about say Samsung or LG, for example, they are looking for penetration in a tier 2 and tier 3 city. So probably the one right strategy could be that you contact those companies or those corporates who are looking for their penetration in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Probably they might not have their physical presence there, but they would surely like to reach you and take you to that level. And they do provide that support. It's just that we don't reach to the right people for whom we need to go for raising the funds. If that happens, it really works. And I've personally witnessed that in my case.
Yeah, thank you so much. And also we have Professor Hina Kothari with us. I would actually personally would like her to speak about some examples, because that can definitely add perspective to different parts of country. There would be few examples maybe which can add to the learnings of this session. So I'm just giving an audio access to Professor Hina Kothari so that she can share some suggestions and feedback for the students and faculty across India.
Sure.
Professor Hina, we have unmuted you. Professor Hina, we have, she's saying they do not have a mic with them. So, in fact, they have a question. They're saying, what kind of activities will make new students or some students from standard 12th student passing out from standard 12 will help them? What kind of events will motivate them to be a part of the ESL member? Like basically, like the students joining for the undergraduate programs, I think.
I think for the undergraduate programs, the interesting thing we need to do is we need to keep their interests alive. For that, the activities have to be more creative and fun oriented, right? If we talk about, doing small activities like picture exercise, playing puzzle games, conducting those 50 rupees games is like quite common, and I think it has generated lots of revenue for school and undergraduate students than anybody else, because they take it so seriously and they do it very nicely. In fact, a lot of interesting ideas come from them. So doing something which is very live, more fun oriented, and it makes each member in the team engaged. If they do that, I think they will be more excited about doing these activities on campus. Does that answer to your question, Hina ma'am?
I hope so. We haven't received, I think we have answered them clearly. She says thanks for this. And also we have Professor Sumita here from Mount Carmel College, Bangalore. I'm also unmuting her so that she can also come up with her views and questions. Professor Sumita? Yeah, hi. Yeah, please go ahead.
My question is very simple. See, we have these programs for the new people who come into the ESL, the new members as we call them, and then we run these exercises like etc. all over again. And by the time what we've been seeing from the last 3 years is the students who are already in the second year and final year, they get bored and they start leaving. So, I really am in for a loss, and how do I keep the interest levels of everybody together? Because given to the college activities, college timings, it is very difficult to organize programs. So, at present, the program every year, what we have, problem which every year we have, we keep the new students interested and the old ones run away.
So, you mean to say you conduct every year the same activity for the first and second year students together?
No, the first years. Now at present we're doing it for the first years, and then the second final years are already there, and then by the time we do these series of new programs for the first years, the second and the final years stop attending these programs.
See, I'll tell you something. How do we do it here? I mean, what we do for first years, of course, you have to keep on doing a lot of activities, right? And you're spending more time in creating awareness and motivation, which second year has already gone through, right? So they are now into more of serious business. First, what I do, we empower our second year students to conduct those activities for the first year students, and secondly, for the second year students, we engage them in variety of other activities. We don't get them to see the repetition of the same activities which we are doing for the first year students. There could be a second alternative is you change your activities or the way you do those activities. If you are doing it together for both the batches, you need to change your activities. Of course, everybody gets bored of when they are passing through the same thing, and then you don't get much out of the thing. But I think if you empower your second year students and tell them you run this activity, I think they really have fun out of doing this. And say, for example, I tell you something like I do Mandi, which is a 50 rupees exercise thing, which is in a different mode, which we run it every year, right? So already second year have gone through that when they were in their first year. But still when we do it repeatedly, we keep on changing the rules and we do it in a different setup. They don't mind that, the learning has not taken place and they enjoy doing it even again. So I think we as a faculty has to drive it in such a way that, they find value out of it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it answers my question. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Sumita. I think there are still some questions coming in, but we are on the verge of almost closing this session. We'll definitely take those questions offline, whatever different questions are coming to us. Thank you so much, Dr. Sheenu, for this interesting session. I'm sure all the students had been benefited, and also the faculty who had shared the views, and also everyone who had asked questions. This will definitely create an impact in the mind of the new students who have joined in and trying to learn what the ESL works and how it functions all together.
Thank you so much, Adhyasha. It was a pleasure talking to all of you today.
Yeah, same here, same here. Thank you so much. All the participants, all the attendees, thank you so much for being in this webinar. We are glad the questions are still coming in, but we really have lack of time for this today. So please do share your feedbacks and suggestions with us. I'll type down my email ID there, but still sadyasha@global.org. I'm sure many of you have this ID with you. You can please send your suggestions to this ID, or I'll be typing down for you all. Also, if you found this session interesting, feel free to blog or post about it. I'm sure many of you are very good bloggers. Do use your skill to write about the session. If it has been helpful to you, please do write about it. The recorded version of this webinar will be anyway available to you on YouTube by end of this week. We'll definitely share the details about our next webinar that is happening. It's an exclusive webinar on campus company. How campus company is a stepping stone for the students to on their entrepreneurial journey, to start with their entrepreneurial journey. This would be the next topic that is happening next month. We are sure all of you will be a part of that session. Thank you for sharing your views once again, and thanks, Dr. Sheenu. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you so much, Adhyasha.
Really helped. Yeah. Bye. Thanks. Thank you, audience. Have a good day.
Okay, bye-bye.
Can we have the lights?